Have you ever felt that a video game has more impact power than a movie? In this video, we're going to show you 15 games that not only tell a story, but allow you to experience it in such a cinematic way that they'll put Hollywood to shame. Starting with number 15, we have Cyberpunk 2077, maybe a first-person game, but it still delivers some truly remarkable performances, especially in its DLC. Keanu Reeves does a fantastic job as Johnny Silverhand, particularly in the final helicopter ride out of Night City, where Johnny comes to terms with his inevitable death. His portrayal in this scene is introspective and subdued, offering a stark contrast to the reckless and brash persona he displayed earlier in the game. However, the real standout is Idris Elba as Solomon Reed. Elba gives a layered performance, portraying Reed as a deeply loyal, yet deeply conflicted character. His final moment, sitting in the desert and reflecting on the consequences of his actions, is one of the most nuanced and morally complex scenes in the game. This exploration of Reed's inner turmoil makes him one of the most compelling characters in the story. Without these incredible performances, the themes and emotional weight of the game wouldn't hit nearly as hard. The outstanding voice acting and depth of emotion in Cyberpunk 2077 demonstrate that video games can be just as impactful and moving as any film. Number 14. Ghost of Tsushima shines in many aspects: breathtaking visuals, intense combat, and a well-designed objective system. But its story truly stands out. While it starts at a slower pace, the narrative evolves into something much deeper as new characters are introduced and the stakes escalate. What begins as a straightforward tale of a Mongol invasion transforms into a deeply personal journey. Jin Sakai, the protagonist, begins as a traditional samurai bound by a strict code of honor. However, as events unfold, his commitment to those ideals starts to falter. The emotional weight of his choices, especially during pivotal moments, creates some of the game's most dramatic scenes. One standout is the Act 2 finale, during the mission A Reckoning of Blood. After being ambushed, Jin witnesses the mercilessness of Khoten Khan firsthand. In a harrowing moment, Khan captures Jin's ally Taka and forces Jin to watch as Taka is killed. The scene where Khan presents Taka's decapitated head to Jin is devastating, with some of the best motion capture work in the game. As the story advances, the stakes grow increasingly personal. Jin's fight against the Mongols transcends mere warfare. It's a deeply emotional struggle. The voice acting, particularly from Khoten Khan, heightens the tension and adds even more depth to this unforgettable narrative. Number 13. God of War Ragnarok. No disrespect to Kratos' original voice actor, but Christopher Judge's portrayal of Kratos in the latest God of War games takes the character to another level. Ragnarok, in general, is an acting showcase, and nowhere is this clearer than in the first meeting between Kratos, Thor, and Odin. The scene picks up right after the prologue, where Kratos is confronted by Thor. It's a brilliantly choreographed sequence, full of tension, where violence seems poised to explode at any second. The motion capture is flawless, with Kratos standing firm against Thor, who is unpredictable and boisterous. Odin, played by Richard Schiff, offers a fresh take on the character, playing him like a laid-back California mob boss. This unexpected portrayal adds depth to the character, and the performances in Ragnarok are simply outstanding. The camera work, especially in dialogue-heavy scenes, adds to the cinematic feel. In one remarkable sequence, the camera stays on the characters, making it feel even more personal and intense. Next, at number 12, we have The Last of Us Part 1. It's a game that's both praised and criticized for being very cinematic. Naughty Dog has always leaned into cinematic storytelling, but with this game, they truly perfected it. The game's narrative is so visual and dramatic that it was seamlessly adapted into an HBO series, with entire scenes lifted directly from the game. This level of authenticity is rare in video game adaptations. Troy Baker's portrayal of Joel is one of the most convincing performances I've ever heard. He perfectly captures the essence of an older man with a younger voice, making Joel feel incredibly real. The opening sequence sets the tone for the entire game, building tension and culminating in an emotionally raw climax. It's a sequence that truly puts movies to shame. Ashley Johnson's portrayal of Ellie anchors the story, providing emotional weight, especially during key moments like her confrontation with Joel in the house and fall. It's one of those rare scenes where the acting is so good, it feels like it belongs in a major award show. Number 11 is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. While the Star Wars franchise struggles to tell coherent stories on the big screen, the Star Wars video games have been thriving, especially Jedi Survivor and its predecessor, Jedi Fallen Order. These games are telling more compelling, character-driven stories than the films. Cal Kestis, the main character, is somewhat of a blank slate, designed to let players project themselves onto him. But the real stars of the story are the supporting characters, like Bod, who defies expectations by surviving the prologue and turning out to be a central figure. The game distracts you with a seemingly typical Jedi villain, only to reveal deeper twists that make the betrayal land with incredible impact. The subtle hints leading to Bod's betrayal are masterfully done, with every look and pause foreshadowing his eventual turn. The emotional stakes of a brother-versus-brother conflict, built up throughout the game, make the final confrontation truly hit home. And at number 10 we have Marvel's Spider-Man. It's not always the drama that sets video games apart, it's the action. PlayStation's first-party games are known for their stunning set pieces, but Spider-Man takes it to a whole new level. From the helicopter chase in the first Spider-Man game to the ridiculous boat segment in Spider-Man 2, each action sequence feels like a blockbuster film in itself. There are so many standout moments, whether it's the battle against Sandman, the teleporting Black Cat, or the dramatic Sinister Six escape, that any one of them could be someone's favorite. These sequences don't just mimic cutscenes, they're interactive, adding a level of immersion you don't typically get in movies. From a cinematic perspective, Spider-Man raises the bar, with adrenaline-pumping action sequences that outdo even the most thrilling superhero movies. Number 9 on the list is Wolfenstein: The New Order. And oh, the Wolfenstein games, they're just fantastic. When you first start Wolfenstein: The New Order, you might expect some silly nonsense, and sure, there's plenty of that, but there's also a surprising amount of real emotion. A lot of it comes from the actor voicing BJ Blazkowicz, Brian Bloom, who brings a quiet, simmering anger to the character, often bubbling to the surface. His performance really elevates the game, along with a few unforgettable moments like the early train scene. It's a moment that feels straight out of a Tarantino movie. In fact, a lot of Wolfenstein seems tailored for fans of Inglourious Bastard. In this scene, the psychopathic Frau Engel forces BJ into a twisted test to see if he has impure blood. It's a tense moment, carefully crafted to keep you on edge, and there's no way to know the right answer, so you're left guessing. It's one of the best villain introductions I've ever seen. Later games push the grotesque villain angle a little too far, but this one strikes the perfect balance of skewed realism and exaggerated menace. Wolfenstein: The New Order was one of those rare games, messy and strange, but when it hits hard. And number 8 is Far Cry 3. There's one performance that completely changed the trajectory of the Far Cry series. Michael Mando, as Vaz Montenegro. He single-handedly made every Far Cry villain the focal point of the story and marketing, thanks to his brilliant portrayal. Despite his limited screen time, Vaz leaves an unforgettable impact. The intensity of his acting, the twitchy movements, and the strange vocal tics make him a terrifying character. If anyone else had played him, Vaz might have been just another villain, but Michael Mando's performance is so strong, the character stands out. Far Cry 3 has some of the best performance capture of its time, and without Mando's work, the game wouldn't have the same impact. At number 7, we have Red Dead Redemption 2. Arthur Morgan is an incredible character. He begins as a stereotypical cowboy, but as the game progresses, more layers of his tough exterior start to peel away, revealing the vulnerable man underneath. This transformation is what makes Arthur such a compelling and complex figure. A man of few words, tough as nails. He has a painful past, an ex-wife, and his loyalty to the gang makes him both sympathetic at times and downright cold-blooded at others. One of the most impactful aspects of Arthur's character is his struggle with tuberculosis. Confronted with his own mortality, his internal journey becomes fascinating. There are numerous powerful scenes where Arthur reflects on his legacy, whether he'll be remembered as a hero or just another thug. His final moments, especially when he decides to help John Marston near the end, are masterfully acted. Arthur's performance is subtle, and despite being a man of few words, his emotional depth speaks volumes through his actions and silences. He's a man wrestling with his humanity in his final days, and it's something everyone can relate to at some point in their lives. Number 6, Batman: Arkham City, is a prime example of how a video game can outdo a movie in terms of cinematic experience. Not only does this game offer a deep narrative, but the action and suspenseful moments are crafted with an intensity comparable to the best superhero movies. The quality of the graphics and art direction create a vibrant open-world Gotham, while the animations and combat sequences have a fluidity that rivals the best action scenes. Additionally, the player interaction, where you make the decisions and control Batman, makes the story feel more personal, while the music and voice acting especially that of Mark Hamill as the Joker, elevate the experience, taking the player to an emotional level that movies simply can't match. Number 5. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End is a cinematic masterpiece that blends an epic adventure story with exceptional gameplay. Every scene feels like something straight out of a big-budget action movie, with breathtaking sequences including chases, shootouts, and moments of sheer tension, all presented in hyper-realistic graphics. The story of Nathan Drake, a retired thief who finds himself drawn back into the world of adventure, is filled with emotional twists and moments of deep reflection about family, loyalty, and sacrifice. The character animations are so fluid and detailed that their emotions and reactions are completely believable, allowing the player to connect with them more intensely than in a traditional film. The cinematic quality in every aspect of the game, from the art direction to the music and voice acting, makes Uncharted 4 a more immersive and personal experience than many Hollywood action films. Number 4. GTA 4 stands out as a cinematic masterpiece for its mature narrative, complex characters, and an open world that, while free-form, is packed with detail and emotion that gives an unparalleled sense of immersion. The story of Nico Bellic, an immigrant in search of the American dream, is raw, realistic, and emotionally powerful, with twists that make the player question the decisions they make. The dialogue is full of nuance, and the voice acting, particularly Nico's, brings an emotional depth rarely found in video games. Additionally, the world of Liberty City, while vast, feels like a character, with its own pulse and atmosphere, reflecting the hopelessness and internal struggle of the protagonist. Missions are like big-budget action scenes, and interaction with the environment allows the player to be an active part of the story, creating a more personal experience than that of a Hollywood movie. Number 3. Metal Gear Solid 3: Snake Eater is a clear example of how video games can offer a cinematic experience that rivals the best action thrillers. Its narrative, full of emotional twists and deep conflicts, immerses you in a story of betrayal, sacrifice, and loyalty as you explore the Cold War in a jungle environment. The quality of the art direction, the video sequences, and the animations are so impressive that they seem straight out of a high-budget film, and the voice acting, especially that of characters like the boss, gives it an emotional charge that is not easily found in cinema. The stealth and survival mechanics allow the player to actively engage in the plot, making tactical decisions directly influence the development of the story. In addition, the combination of music, sound effects, and the general atmosphere turns MGS3 into a unique experience, where every moment feels crucial, like in a high-end thriller. Number 2. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time is a timeless classic that not only defined the 3D adventure genre, but also offered a cinematic experience that rivals the best fantasy films. The story of Link, a young hero who must save the kingdom of Hyrule from dark forces, is filled with epic moments, intrigue, and a rich mythology that continues to resonate with players decades after its release. While the game doesn't feature as elaborate cutscenes as modern titles, its narrative, combined with its memorable music and character development, creates a deeply immersive atmosphere. The exploration and puzzle-solving mechanics allow players to actively experience the adventure, while interacting with the characters and world of Hyrule brings a unique sense of emotional connection. Key moments, such as boss battles and dramatic scenes in the Temple of Time, have the same intensity as the best action scenes in cinema. Ocarina of Time is not just a video game. It is a cinematic experience that has left a deep mark on entertainment culture. And finally, at number 1 is Alan Wake 2. Showcases Remedy's long-standing experimentation with blending live action and video games. Over the years, their techniques have evolved, culminating in this game. Instead of treating gameplay and live-action cutscenes as separate elements, Alan Wake 2 integrates them, seamlessly transitioning between the two until it feels entirely natural. The motion capture and facial animation are stunning, not to create realism, but to heighten the intentionally unsettling tone that permeates the game. The live-action sequences, with their deliberate disorientation, amplify the uncanny atmosphere as the story unfolds. Some of the game's standout moments lean heavily on live action, such as the surreal talk show scenes or the iconic rock opera sequence, moments that could only be fully realized in a video game format. The influence of Twin Peaks is evident in its unconventional pacing, enigmatic dialogue, and dreamlike, existential horror. Yet Alan Wake 2 retains a distinct identity that remains true to its roots. For me, the most emotionally resonant scenes come at the end of each chapter, where you visit Alan's wife's apartment, transformed into an art exhibit. Through her video diaries, she reflects on the events of the first game, tormented by Alan's ghost and unable to move forward. These raw, heartfelt moments inject a profound emotional weight into the story, grounding its surreal and haunting narrative. That's all for today. Let us know what you think in the comments, and if you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload new videos every day. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss anything. Thanks for watching. And remember, we are Gamespedia EX, your AI favorite video game source. I'll be back.